going on, everybody? My name is Peter, also known as DJ SKD. I'm doing a video today. It was actually sparked by a friend of mine who approached me. Her daughter was looking to get into DJing. I thought it was interesting. I've been DJing for over 20 years, and over the years, I've always had, as it goes, if you are a DJ, people come up to you and go, DJing, that looks great. How do I get into it? What's so interesting is the narrative has changed over the years, especially now in 2026. So I started out DJing pretty much on vinyl, starting from vinyl, and worked my way up. I started using mini discs when those were things. People that are watching this are probably brand new, have no idea what I'm talking about. One of the things I started out with was PC DJ, which was like the first software DJ stuff out there. It was pretty incredible. Here in 2026, it's very exciting. It's so easy to get into DJing. The DJing world is very broad, and even though, like, I'm going to talk about my friend's daughter is looking at it in a very narrow aspect, I think this part of the conversation is very important because it doesn't have to be narrow. Just because you get into DJing doesn't mean your only path is to be a festival DJ. There's a lot of areas in between you could find yourself falling into, which is a good thing, and that's how I found myself. I actually started out hoping to be maybe a mainstream DJ, doing the social media thing, and fell into more of a mobile DJ career. I still do some nightclubs. It keeps me sharp, it keeps me fresh with the younger crowds, and I do enjoy it. Mobile DJing, as far as doing weddings and stuff like that, was not something I really saw myself doing, or at least wanting to do, but now I really enjoy it. It actually has become my main career as far as my DJ business goes. It wouldn't have happened if I hadn't started out, obviously, experimenting and having a goal. With all that being said, I want to talk about, if you are looking to start out, what to start with and how to progress, and whichever way you end up, how to work through those progressions, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. So like I mentioned, my friend approached me saying her daughter was looking to get into DJing. She's about 20 years old. As a 20-year-old is, they have idols. TikTok, Instagram, they follow this stuff. She was no different. The way of getting into DJing is really not clear. You have a lot of probably influencers and social media things that say you got to go out and buy the best of the best Pioneer, or you need Rane, or you need Denon. And it's kind of frustrating because it's almost like this driven narrative, whether it's sponsorship or whether it's niche social marketing, whatever it is. And it couldn't be further from the truth. What's funny to me is DJing hasn't changed really inherently for 50 years plus. The mechanism, the operation of DJing has remained the same since mixing with two turntables and vinyl. It is blending two songs together in a harmonious and beat matching way, and that still remains the same today. The more interesting thing is you can accomplish that with such simple equipment. So I have here, this is an iPad running Algorithm DJ, and this was actually my first recommendation, and it would be my first recommendation to you. If you have an iPhone, an iPad, or any computer, you can run this software. I'm actually going to do a little demo for you. So I have a streaming service running on here. This is Apple Music. Here I have a couple songs queued up. Try not going to get copyright, but here we go. Mixing two songs. Here we go. That was a pretty standard mix of two songs. I had Little Boo Thing and Espresso on an iPad using Algorithm DJ. And, my kind of point with this is that you can start DJing with the things you already have. Do not feel pressured to go out and buy the best of the best, and that's what's going to make you a good DJ. Practicing with what you have is going to make you start out as a good DJ. So the other part of this, like I mentioned, beat mixing and mixing in harmony, that's kind of the basis of starting out at the DJ. Now the other part of that, reading a crowd or playing to a crowd. Say you get your iPhone or your iPad, whatever it may be, and you are now mixing music at home, you're having a good time, you're starting to feel like you're getting the hang of things. My next recommendation is get in front of a crowd, whether that be a house party. If someone's got a house party coming up, a birthday, whatever it is, I wouldn't do it in a professional sense. Start mixing music. Start seeing the crowd's reactions to the songs that you pick. That will give you an idea what it's like to play in front of a crowd. Experience that stress, the stress of choosing the songs to keep the vibe going in a party. There's a lot to be said from that experience. Unfortunately, that cannot be taught. You cannot watch that on YouTube. You cannot learn that in a tutorial. You just have to go out and do it. A lot of people, they experience that, and maybe they have a bad experience, or maybe it intimidates them, and they don't continue on. That'd be my suggestion to starting out, and that was my suggestion for her to start out, was get something simple. I think she ended up going with a cheaper controller, a Pioneer controller. I told her, I said, next time you have a house party, you end up hearing about someone having a get together, offer to play music. You know, get in there and get that feeling, see what that experience is like. So now that you've had that experience, say you've gotten some mixing down, you've been practicing, you've been showing off to your friends, and you're getting the hang of things, maybe you want to take it to the next level. But the other part of this is networking, I would say, for anything, whether it's DJs that are producers looking to get into bigger festivals, or if you're looking to get into smaller venues. I happen to live in New England area. Our closest city metropolis is Boston, and that's like a big nightclub area. And there are a bunch of DJs in that area that I've associated with. And over the years, we've traded gigs back and forth. I also work in local bars and nightclubs in my area. And then, like I said, my main business is weddings, and I do a lot of weddings. We have mountains and everything around us, and it doesn't have to be tied down, you know, and that's kind of the point in case I made to my friend's daughter. Get into this, and you might experience playing in front of a crowd, and you might be good at it, and you can expand on that skill and that technique. So once you've expanded on those skills and that technique, and now maybe you're making those connections with friends, they're hearing you play music, you're thinking about actually investing in gear. There's a couple options. There's actually many options you can get into. I would say a controller and a laptop was kind of the standard before. As you can see sitting in front of me, I am a little partial to this Engine DJ stuff. I'm planning on doing a whole another video. I did a video almost 4 years ago now on the Prime Go. Ever since then, I've been really invested in the Engine DJ ecosystem. Now, the reason for it is, you know, the whole laptop controller thing, it does provide you with a little more flexibility, but it comes with inherent risks. Number one, you have a laptop hanging out at a party, at a bar, and it's kind of this open thing that could get thrown off and broken and spilled on. And then the other side of it is actually, you know, software updates and, you know, making sure that firmware is compatible with this. These all-in-ones, to include Pioneer, mind you, I'm not really a Pioneer fan just because of the software and the hardware. I feel like I can do more on this Engine DJ. I would say if that's what you can afford, that's what you have access to, a controller and a laptop are a great way to go. One of the things I have here is actually, this is the Numark Mixstream Pro Go. I wish I had this when I first started out DJing. This is an incredible all-in-one unit, and it's perfect for a beginner. You're going to be able to get the experience, the tactile experience of bending a platter, you know, using your tempo faders, crossfaders, everything you need to mix music. And on top of that, it actually has built-in speakers. I DJ'd a friend's wedding, and the after party was in a hotel room, and I brought this. And, you know, we had about 12 people in a hotel room playing music strictly off this, and it was a great time. And again, the flexibility of not having a laptop, not having anything that's floating around, plugged in, like it's going to get broken. This is a great way to start out. So say you've purchased your entry-level DJ controller, whatever it may be, you get your first gig. You know, now you get to experience DJing in front of a proper crowd, maybe at a venue, maybe it's just a local bar, maybe kind of a smaller nightclub. You're progressing into that area of DJing, and you get a few nights under your belt and maybe build up something like a residency. Then you can start talking about investing in the bigger equipment. Maybe a sided part of it is you actually end up doing more mobile gigs. I think that's where this stuff comes into play. The really expensive equipment comes down to the professionals. The problem is where that line is kind of a gray area. When I started booking gigs, I started getting weekly residencies, and I started getting weddings pretty much every month in the summer. That was when I really started investing money in equipment. You have to recognize a point where this is a business and you do need the proper equipment to maintain your business. Once you're at that point, then moving on with DJing it's a great career. It's a great job. The point I was trying to get across was there's no one size fits all, but also to not be pressured into high-end equipment, into being a big producing DJ, expecting you don't get on the main stage at EDC that you're a failure as a DJ, because that's not the case. There's a lot of in-betweens. There's a lot of area to make this a business, to make it even just a part-time business, a hobby that pays you some money to afford to run the business. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Like I said, this was kind of spawned from a conversation with a friend that I figured the information would be useful to people looking to get into DJing. I plan on doing a lot more videos. The mixes are hard to do because copyright keeps taking them down. I actually found a tutorial on YouTube about how to test your music for copyright infringement, and I might try that a little bit more. So that being said, I hope you got something out of this video. If you enjoyed the videos, subscribe, definitely like the video. If you comment, I'll try to look through some comments, see if I can answer some things. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video.